everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Adam Penna, and I'm here to continue the conversation in additive manufacturing and 3D printing. Today, I have with me Rich Stephenson, who's here from C&A Tool, which is a contract manufacturer that has been doing a lot of things for many years, and they do all the traditional manufacturing in a really beautiful place up north. And Rich has been doing the AM sales side of things there, so he's the additive manufacturing sales manager. And welcome, Rich. How are you doing today?
I am living the dream, Adam. How about yourself?
Good. Yeah. It's, it's interesting times right now, but I'm happy to connect with people like you to just, check in, see how things are going and learn a little bit more about what you've been doing in these interesting times. So thanks for being here today. Yeah.
No, I appreciate the time. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, good. I know, C&A Tool has been, it looks like, you've been into additive for over 10 years, but I've also been doing things since 1969 in traditional manufacturing. And I know that you've come aboard there and you've really done a lot of things inside of the additive workplace. So how have things been going over this time, especially in the last few months, with everything going on with the pandemic? How have things been going for you?
So yeah, things have been tough the last couple months. I mean, with obvious reasons, but we keep plugging along. So we've still been manufacturing. Things have slowed down a little bit. Our medical side is really kicked in on the medical side. So the medical side is really busy. Aerospace is a little bit slow, obviously. Our industrial markets seem to stay pretty steady. But the real driving force has been medical.
Mm. Yeah, what specifically about medical? Is it just everything going on with personal protection equipment and the health and safety issues out there today, or is it something that is stemmed up aside from the normal that we see out there?
I think you see in the medical devices, so I think they're stocking up, even though they may not be doing as many procedures right now as they're used to.
Yeah.
But I think some of these medical companies are making sure their stockpile is up to date and ready to go for this when this whole thing kicks.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with, I guess, also everything that everybody keeps bringing up, the digital thread and having things kind of available during what's happened with the supply chain. So the medical industry is kind of pushing being ahead of the curve now, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and that's kind of a benefit of what we have, since we cover a lot of different markets: aerospace, medical, industrial, and fuel systems. Usually if one industry is down, we have the other industry that kind of picks us up and keeps us at hopefully a level plane. But right now it's a little dip below that, but we're staying afloat.
Yeah, I know in general, C&A Tool has so much going on as far as it's a very large facility in multiple places. I know that I even read something where it was called, I think someone referred to it as a village up there of different shops. So yeah. That's really cool. I mean, for such a big facility, what was it? Am I going to say, and I'm saying this wrong, you could correct me, but is it over 700,000 square feet, something like that? Or how large?
700,000 square feet.
Wow.
Between the three facilities. So each facility is a little over 200,000 square feet, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. And also inside of that, of course, all the traditional manufacturing that you're having going on, but you also house, is it 9 additive manufacturing machines in-house?
Yeah, 9 metal printers in-house.
Nice.
We're slated to get the big format this year.
Oh,
unfortunately,
cool.
with all this, we kind of got put on hold, but
sure.
But it's definitely on the market to come in here and help with that as well.
Yeah, it's that'll be great. I know there's a lot of different things happening in our industry. It's exciting to see manufacturing stepping up and supplementing what's going on in the supply chain and different people in the industry communicating more to make that happen. And I know that even you were forced a little bit to travel. You're in Ohio, right? Is that correct?
I am in Ohio,
okay.
And right in Cincinnati, and actually I was just at the facility earlier this week.
Yeah.
And you really get an appreciation for what people are going through. I mean, I have the luxury of working in home, so I can, if something comes up, I'm pretty well self-quarantined, but those guys up there that are coming in every day are wearing the masks, the safety goggles, and I don't know if you've had a mask on with safety goggles.
Yes, I have.
Every time you breathe, it fogs up,
Yeah.
And these guys are dealing with this day in and day out, and it just makes you, appreciate what they're really going through just to keep business going and try to keep some type of normalcy up there. But, we're taking all the precautions. Everybody even if you're in your office, you have to have your mask on unless the door is closed and you're by yourself. So it's really been a transition period. There's a lot of cleaning going on. We're a clean facility anyway. We get that comment all the time that people can't imagine, the size we are and the amount of machines that we have and how clean our facility really is. But
yeah, it's a beautiful facility. It looks a bit like a resort up there. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes people are like, "What is that place?" And surprised to learn that it's a machine shop. So yeah.
Way cool. Yeah, I know that's been a strength of at least procedures, safety procedures. A lot of companies that are looking into how they can keep the employees safe who have to be in the shop or doing the work. And people on the floor, of course, going through setting up procedures of keeping them inside of their own. I've heard the term used is their own pod or their own little their own little cell of where people are working that are responsible for being there in that place at that time. And it's interesting to see these type of procedures roll out. I think it's good for all of us, but of course it's a little bit cumbersome to take on, but the safety side of it is really big. And I think in the long term, as things start to open up a bit more, having those policies and procedures in place is obviously the best thing for all of us.
Right. I mean, it's definitely very cumbersome, and I had no idea until I actually went up there and experienced it for myself. So it's quite a struggle, and I'm happy to be working from my home actually. So
yeah. So what you've seen up there too, I think you said a lot of medical applications. On the additive sides, other than medical, what are some of the applications you see as possibilities now? Are there things that are C&A starting to look into a little bit different, or has it all been the same old, same old? What's the course of action happened over the last few months?
No, I think that, C&A has been considered, even though we've had additive for 10 years, it's been considered that we only do medical in additive. And it's not the case. It's just for us, that's what took off in the beginning, right? And it's still taking off. We're doing production in cervical implants and different sizes, different quantities, different companies. So that's just kind of what brought on the more and more titanium machines. But we still run Inconel and stainless. And what kind of sets us apart is we have separate rooms for each one of these different materials. So we have a closed door room for titanium. We have a closed door room for Inconel. We have a closed door room for our stainless steel. And the thought process is that really needed? Maybe not. But what it does do is gives you the security to know that there's no cross-contamination possibilities, right? We're using all the same material in the same room. And again, what the other thing it helps out is proprietary information, right? So when COVID wasn't here, there's a lot of tours. A lot of people want to see, what you're doing. This lets us, keep that thing separate, and maybe there's a little window somebody can see, but they can't see the parts. They can't see what they're working on or what's being built in the additive machine. So it kind of helps with that security part of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good that you have the facility to do something like that and break it out and make it separate like that. That's really nice. With the 700,000 square feet, that's one of the benefits of being able to do something like that.
Right, absolutely. And we still do some aerospace parts. It's just smaller parts, and that's what we're looking to grow into the large format, like a EOS M400 type build platform.
Nice.
Just to enable us to do more and more different aerospace and defense or additional valve work or anything like that.
Nice. Yeah, the medical specialty obviously is a very good thing to have, and all of the experience that you have in it over the years of doing such a thing. I know a lot of people are just getting into it now and having a great success. So to have an established company like C&A Tool has been doing it for a long time. That's a really big asset to have as far as somebody to work with who knows what they're doing, has been doing it for a while. There's not a lot of people who've been doing it for a while. So that's really, really good to see that.
And another benefit that we have is, with our CNC work, we're handling customers that are doing their additive but don't know how to CNC their parts.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing parts come through that these big companies are having their own additive machines and sending it to us to, how do we get the supports out of this? How do we
post-process? Yeah,
all the post-processing. So that's really flourished here in the last couple of years as well. We kind of know, how to position a part in additive, or what needs to be, what we can build in the part to actually help with holding, or maybe identifying, certain points, and putting that in the additive process and being able to machine that off. So we've seen a lot of, I'd say big companies that have their own additive machines looking to us for post-processing. So that's been a plus as well.
Yeah. Let's deep dive a little bit in that. The post-processing side, of course, is after you get, like when we were talking about metals, that's after it comes out of the machine, especially in a laser powder bed fusion, you have, your powder bed with the build plate that actually is starting from the plate melting up layer by layer, each particular build. So you always have to cut usually from the plate or have some way to break those supports off. And of course, you guys have EDMs over there that do that process, and I'm sure a bunch of other tools that can be used depending upon the project. But besides just taking it off the build plate, what other sort of post-processing is normal inside of, say, medical right there that you have available?
Well, medical, you're cleaning up the part. You're also creating some of those the holes that are necessary for the instruments to clamp onto, for screws to go into, threads. We're doing threads, tapping holes, and that type of thing. Some of it takes a lot of precision tooling to be able to get in some of those small implant parts.
Sure does, yeah. And the capability to do that, that's when you don't know what you don't have until you don't have it and you need it. So
Right.
that's why I'm
and
sure
the
a lot.
polishing side too. We finish them as well. So we have the finishing equipment here as well to polish those up. In addition to a passivation process that it's almost ready to be up and running. So in the past, we've had to send out for passivation for medical, and now we'll be able to do it in-house as well.
Oh, great. So you have the passivation in-house also. That's nice.
Yep.
Great. So yeah, that's a lot of what can happen in post-process. A lot of people don't think about that. They think, oh, I'll get it printed off and then it'll be ready. Well, maybe, but usually there's something that you have to do to it, especially if you're using it in a larger application. There's a lot of different things that go into it. So yeah, having all those capabilities in-house is a big strength of C&A Tools. So it's good. It's good to hear that you're adding more capabilities all the time also, because as applications grow, there's more and more need for the post-processing side of it. And I think people think about that afterwards sometimes, and having the capabilities ahead of time is a big deal. So that's great.
Yeah, I think if you start adding more additive machines, as far as metal, you need to make sure you add the CNC post machining equipment as well. Very few parts come off that additive process and that don't require some type of post processing to it. So we're in a great position for that as well. You got as much CNC equipment that you need to get that job done.
Yeah, a lot of companies now, of course, are developing a lot of better software capabilities inside of additive manufacturing to reduce the amount of supports needed inside of a build. However, at the same time, even if you're not using supports, you still have a bit of cleanup that has to happen in the post-process side of it. So, very, very intelligent to pay attention to that side of what you're doing, because, of course, you can get a lot of great benefits on the post-processing side to make the whole application that much better. So, especially in medical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, neat, man. I know, we talked a little bit over the last few months, and of course, you've had some things going on too. What have you been doing to keep yourself happy over this time, or to maybe keep healthy and not focus on some of the other things that are happening right now? I know we all need to stay sane. So what have you been doing to stay sane during this time?
There's a lot of afternoon walks, evening walks, morning walks.
Same here, man. Walk a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Stand up from the chair every once in a while, try to stretch it out. Happy hours used to be on Fridays. I think they're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, it's every day now. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it's important. It's important to stay positive and healthy, and especially with a bit of negativity out there. There's a lot of good stuff to focus on, and I feel very lucky and grateful that our industry supplies that right now, especially with a lot of what's been happening in the interim with our supply chains and with things that 3D printing and additive manufacturing has filled those gaps. and continues to be a focal point for a lot of people looking to really, bolster or have a strong supply chain and not really come across some of the emergency situations that we've had in the last few months. It's good. It's been good to see our response, additives response, and then of course manufacturing in general's response. But at the same time, we've been made aware that we all need to do things to really get that supply chain tightened up and have the risk mitigation in place for what might happen in the future. And a lot of it has to do with our our manufacturing happening here locally. So a lot of good things happening, and it's exciting to be part of it.
Yeah, actually, it's good and bad, right? So you figure out how fastly we can get things pushed through, but then some restrictions come up, but getting to know what those restrictions are, during this period, it kind of helps us with the manufacturing side once we get back to normal business in the different markets. So, it's been a great learning experience as far as the additive goes.
Yeah, it has. And I think a lot of what's going on too is open collaboration. You see a lot more people able to talk a lot more about projects, or open to figuring things out at this stage. And I really enjoy that. I've been, lucky to hear a lot of different applications happening out there in the industry, and how people are really starting to communicate and get together and do a lot of great things. And it's going to be exciting to see how a lot of that plays out, because we're in the early stages of this open communication. Everything used to be a little more, I guess, even a lot more shut down as far as people talking inside the industry. And I see a lot of partnerships you thought never would happen that are really starting to unfold and roll into a bigger game plan. So it's exciting, man. It really is. I'm happy to see what happens also with you and what's going on in C&A Tool. And have you been attending any of the industry events, or is there anything coming up for C&A Tool?
Yeah, I've been attending some of the events. Some of them have been really informative, just to see what people are doing. People still trying to stay progressive and involved in the process. And I've been tuning in. It seems like I've been busy with a bunch of that stuff. Maybe not so much production work, but just figuring out what the market's doing, what everybody's doing, communicating with that. You've had some other guys on here that are good friends of mine in different companies, and you mentioned that collaborative thing. There's a group of us that don't really think that we're necessarily competitors of each other, because we're trying to push the technology along, because it's going to be better for everybody. So we'll see. I mean, it's still a small community, so you're kind of working on some of the same projects, or at least the same quotes. You're all quoting the same thing, and the more and more it gets into the mainstream, the more we're all just going to keep growing on the additive side and manufacturing in general. So that competition thing, it's hard to say that, oh, they're my competitor. It's kind of easy to say we're a collaborator, even though we're not, but we're all pushing towards that goal to have more and more additive and help us all really get that industry, have it not be such a still in the ground floor type process. People understanding there is metal production out there available, and the process it takes to get there, and it is profitable, and you can do better parts. Getting that word out there more and more helps, and the virtual shows are doing that. You got more of a captive audience, right? More people are really watching their screens, or maybe not having side conversations while the presentation's going on. So that presenter really does have more of a captive audience. At least that's what I've been finding.
No, you're absolutely right. And then also being able to return to those, because they're recorded sessions, so then you could always return to something and watch a little segment or part of it if you missed out, or you heard something and just want to hear it again, or want to explore something, you could always return to it. And that's new. I think it's a great way of learning, because it's great live. You could see a lot of good things live and be part of the open conversation when it's live, but then you could return to it afterwards and kind of reference things and become a little bit more educated and have more in your back pocket as far as to refer to. Just a lot of great open conversations are happening, and I'm looking forward to more of that. I know it's been interesting. I know that, like you were saying, in the group of contract manufacturers that I've spoke with, it's a good group of people, a good group of companies, and all in the same mindset of helping each other to become better. Yes, there's the competitive side, but there's the more of, hey, you do good, I do good, and how can I help you? So
Right.
I'm enjoying that kind of a mindset. It's really being agile and open, and being able to really work inside of a new business opportunity that we have here. I mean, things will push through here, and we'll be able to do it together. But I think actually the engineering and manufacturing world has a lot to do with that. It's a good focus to have. So just looking forward to more of it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's some way we could find that standard print, like you do in CNC, if you got a drawing, anybody that has a CNC machine can do that CNC work based on that drawing, right?
Right.
But in additive, we don't have that same process. And that's, if we can get that to come together, because some people are still kind of holding things close about how they do processes or how they're doing something or what their program is or the parameters and stuff like that. And I think if we could get past that, because everybody's kind of doing the same thing, there may be a few little tweaks here and there that someone's got the slight edge in how to, print something better than somebody else. But if we could just get that all standardized on a print, we'd all be a lot happier going.
Yeah, and I've noticed that too. No, you're absolutely right, and I've noticed that as we're used to in any kind of manufacturing, there are standards that are out there, and then everyone could file the same standard to get the same result or be able to achieve close to the same result. And additive, there's just like a magic formula with machine and people and parameters and knowledge and the whole 9 yards. But I'm starting to see a lot more standards being put in place that help kind of bridge those gaps. And I'm sure a lot will get better. ASTMs are stepping up right now, and everything that they're doing to upgrade the standards. And even how ASME affects all that. The Society of Mechanical Engineers have been doing a great job of influencing all that and making it become more of a global standard or national standard. So as those things roll out, it helps, but I'm starting to see a lot more of that right now. And that's good.
Right.
I think the focus is there. And like you're saying, once we get those things into, standards where everyone could follow things to make it happen that much quicker, we'll be in a totally different production plane. There's a lot to look forward to. It is exciting. Anything else, Rich? It's been awesome talking to you today. Anything else that you have to share while we have you here?
No, like I said, as far as what we've been doing, we're still rolling along. Just trying to push more and more about our capabilities. Like I said, I was just there this week. Surprisingly, how busy people are. It's very good. We are, on the additive side, we'd love to have that machine in there by now and growing some large parts, but we understand the situation, so we're excited once that comes into play to get started and open up that side of it as well. So, other than that, it's just keep rolling along.
Yeah, buddy. Well, it sounds good. C&A Tool has a lot to look forward to, and also, Rich, I'm glad to be talking to you. I know we'll be checking in again soon. I look forward to talking to you in the upcoming months and see how things are going. So, thanks for joining me again here today, Rich. Everybody, Rich Stephenson, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Adam.
All right. You have a good day, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.